We're starting off high.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
no, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Do Fools Agree. I am your host, Michael Reggie, as always, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings. Cliff, how you doing tonight?
Apparently just waking up, my brethren.
Oh, yeah?
Listen, I didn't know what was going on.
You here now, though. He's here. He woke up.
He's kind of popped in on me there. I didn't even know.
Well, that's because, for whatever reason, it's not playing the sound. It's not playing the intro video in our headphones. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Listen.
What are you going to do?
I forgot what I was here for.
Right. You know, that's part of getting old. Sometimes you just walk into a room and you're like, damn, what the fuck did I do this for?
That's daily, baby. How your week been?
It's been all right. It's been intense work-wise.
Yours and mine both.
Work was a little crazy, but it was all good stuff, and I got the right FaceTime with the right people, and managed to be delivering on my shit. So basically, got tasked with a couple of last-minute things kind of all week. So it was like multiple fire drills, and we knocked it out of the park as a team on every single one of them. So
fire
it's always
drills?
good. Fire drills is corporate term for like somebody else fucks something up and you got to fix it.
Right. I was about to say, I don't know how those fire drills work from home, but...
Right. Nah, so... I can't remember if I talked about it last week, but we got confirmation that like we're approved to basically double the size of my team.
Oh, for real?
Because they like what we've been doing.
Well, who's hiring, motherfucker? God damn. These motherfuckers try to kill me.
Are they?
Man, listen. I don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna let them.
You can't. It's not. You just can't do it.
I ain't gonna let them. But shit, I'd be lying if I said the devil wasn't in me today. Because I was about to give it to a couple people. Even after I got off work, like I said, I've been working on that house. I was just so frustrated. I wanted to throw shit.
Oh, yeah.
All day long. I was just on edge. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Other than, like I said, the devil was working on me today.
I think you always have that.
Man, he wanted to see me
always
do
in the
something.
He's like, oh.
He wanted to see me do something, and I was about to give it to him, too.
Did we get to the I wish a motherfucker would state?
Nah, we didn't get there. We didn't get there.
Not quite.
Just a lot of honesty in work chats, let's put it that way. But I didn't get to the point of wanting to dial a number.
Gotcha. I hear you.
Once I dial a number, that's a whole nother story. The chat, you don't know how to interpret how I'm
right. Is it sarcasm? Is it...
Interpret on your own.
Right.
But on the phone, you'll know exactly
how I'm feeling about it.
And I got a new supervisor, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
Who hadn't been there too long, as we've discussed.
Right.
So, listen.
It never feels like a good situation when you are reporting to someone that you don't
that knows
that knows less, right? And that you probably not saying you don't have respect for them, but you don't.
No. That's not how I get down. You know what I mean? I respect you for taking the position.
Right.
You're either very brave or very stupid.
So let's find out which one together.
You know what I mean? Oh, I don't even need to find out. I can figure it out on my own. You know what I mean? You don't have to find that out. And that's a fact, Jack. But listen, just don't have me call you, is all I'm saying.
That's not what you need to have.
Because I'll be telling this. Listen, this right here, the issue that I have is above your pay grade.
So this isn't going to you; it's going to your boss.
And she said, well, "Would you like me to schedule it?" It's above his pay grade. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're not doing this, so let's just leave it where it's at. And we'll continue as we were. But we're not going to have this conversation because it's not going to go well for anybody.
Right. Nothing good comes of this.
Not at all. So, you know.
I had not that, but I had the kind of the opposite where luckily I told my boss that someone else was fucking up ahead of her, like seeing it for herself. And then she saw it, kind of witnessed it, like firsthand.
See, me, I'm
and it was like, it's
happen.
Just like you said, Reggie.
I'm waiting on that to happen because right now, motherfuckers are trying to play me like I'm crazy.
Right.
Meanwhile, I've been in my position for
you're like, I told
almost
you.
4 years.
Right.
You
just waiting to be able to drop the I told you so.
Yeah. It won't be an I told you so. It'll be my suck my dick. I'm out. I'm out. Y'all motherfuckers is
dumb. These are also my favorite episodes where Cliff doesn't have the headphones on because he'll listen back and see where I did the sound drops.
As long as that motherfucker plays back.
True. I was watching it over here, so if I click,
oh shit,
it shows
here
up.
we go
so
again.
I should be good.
Listen, and if I pardon the motherfuckers, but if I speak like Samuel L. this evening, that's just the kind of mood I've been in all day. So, you know,
I'm sick and tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
That's funny.
You got the devil inside of you.
That's Christina Ricci.
Yes, sir. Black Snake Moan. Black
Listen.
Snake Moan is my shit. I love that movie.
Listen, I'm sure you did.
That might be my favorite Samuel L. Jackson, like him as the main character movie.
And he had to keep that bitch locked up, boy. Listen. She was a deviant.
She was.
That was a regular Ghislaine Maxwell he had on.
She was hopping on everybody.
Listen, kids, adults. It didn't matter. Anybody could get it.
The young black kid comes in. He's like, "What happened to you?" He's like, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry."
Listen.
Oh man, but that does have great music in it at the end, like where he's singing the blues or whatever.
Who's Samuel?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's got and actually, I think the title track on the soundtrack is Black Snake Moan, and it's him at the end.
Right.
Yeah, the end title.
Yeah,
it's pretty solid. I always like that's a good intro topic for us.
What?
Favorite Samuel L. movies?
Pulp.
You like Pulp Fiction? I go back and forth with Pulp Fiction. I go back and forth with Tarantino in general.
Yeah.
I don't always know how I feel about him.
I mean, I like his style, but some of it's a little off kilter. You know what I mean? And I don't even mean that like from...
you don't even mean that from a Django Unchained perspective?
That's exactly what I mean, like by a little off kilter. Like I like the style, the surprise style of his movies, but they're all a little like weird. Like you can tell where your mind was.
Right, he's a little fucked up.
Right. But I mean, we all are a bit, but
we are. And I also appreciate like any director that has basically a verb, their name turned into a verb, obviously says kind of what they did. Like if I Tarantino, I'm gonna Tarantino this shit. It means you're gonna start with the end of the story and work your way back into the beginning.
Is that right?
Or wait for the Shyamalan. There's twists
Maybe
coming.
maybe I was about to say it again. Maybe he's just dyslexic.
Maybe.
Maybe that's just natural to him. While we thinking he's Tarantino, a genius, he's just maybe Andy Warhol was just fucking colorblind. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh man.
All that. But yeah, Pulp. What other? Okay, Deep Blue Sea.
A shark ate me. A motherfucking shark ate me.
No, that was Samuel.
Samuel Jackson. It's my beer.
That was what that was. It was Samuel Jackson. I don't know why I was thinking Samuel Adams, but it was Samuel Jackson. Damn.
Jurassic Park.
Was he in Jurassic Park?
Yes. He's the computer guy.
Right.
Who gets eaten by the velociraptor.
At the end.
Right.
When
Because his arm just lands on the girl at the end.
What else?
I'm sure this is a polarizing one. Shaft is good.
Was one of mine.
The first one. I didn't like the second one that he did.
had two?
Yeah, he did one.
Take back Shaft.
He did one just like 2 years ago.
Oh, I take back Shaft.
I like Soul Men with him and Bernie Mac.
Ooh,
Soul Men is my jam.
That might be my top. That next to Pulp. Him and Pulp and Soul Men.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
I feel like not a lot of people saw Soul Men, because it came out posthumously for Bernie. Like, it came out, I want to say, 6 months after he died.
Right.
But it's
6 months.
A good, funny movie.
Was it after? No, I thought it was before.
Was it just before he died?
It was before because Isaac Hayes died.
Oh, okay. I know they had both died.
Right around,
by the time I saw it.
When it dropped, Isaac Hayes had died. Well, me and Michelle went to go see that in theaters when it came out.
See, I don't even remember it being in theaters, but I remember getting it on DVD and all that. But that's a good, solid one.
Damn.
I'm shooting dust, man. Bernie talking.
What else though? I don't know why I'm blanking. I talk about this all the time.
Who's out in the chat? Anybody out in the chat? Let us know if there's anything. Samuel
L. Of course, Snakes on the Plane. But if I'm being honest, I never even watched that.
I watched it, and I watched it with my mom because she loves that campy shit.
I started it, and I was like, I just can't. I can't. I might have finished it.
I mean, you didn't miss anything if you didn't.
I might have finished it, or I might have fell asleep on it. Didn't the snake, throw somebody back up or something like that?
I'm sure. I don't remember.
I think it was like a dead body on the plane that a snake had,
eaten and then threw it back up. I don't know.
Something crazy happened. If I'm remembering it right.
I don't remember there being a giant snake. Wasn't it just a bunch of little snakes? I thought there was
a nice sized snake.
Maybe there was. Maybe there was an anaconda or something.
No, I don't think it was that big, but maybe I'm mixing the two.
Right. I don't know. Like I said, I know I saw it. Not that I remember anything about it. I mean, he's in all the Avengers movies.
Passenger 57? No, that was Wesley. He was in that one, though, where he was on, he was a drug smuggler or something like that on the plane.
Not Passenger 50. No,
it was a newer one than that. Damn, I can't.
I don't know that one off the top of my head.
And I want to say he had, braids in it, like Soul Men, but longer. And he had a special liquid drug or something like that.
Got it.
I can't think of the fucking name of it. I never
something
saw it.
Something Limitless or something like that? He wasn't.
It wasn't a Limitless one.
It almost sounds what it is though.
But yeah, it was similar. It was. It's
something.
Like a number, 57 or something like. It's maybe. Something.
I don't know. Passenger 57. I think you're right. Though is Wesley.
Yeah, but it's 59.
Maybe. Damn, I just had another one and now I'm blanking on it. I mean, he was in the one Die Hard movie. Oh, Juice? That was a good one.
He was in Juice?
Part of the Dave Chappelle skit, man. He had to be.
Juice is the movie with Tupac.
Right.
Who was he in Juice?
Wasn't he the shop owner?
Yeah. You're right.
And that's
correct.
a point for the white boy
Yeah,
on
you
Juice,
are
by the
correct.
way. Just calling that out.
Nigga, you only knew because it was a Chappelle skit.
But I knew it was the shop owner.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do remember him in that movie.
Juice.
He was
I
the
haven't
one
seen
that was
that in
schooling
forever.
Omar.
Right.
Telling him to watch out for what was Tupac's name in that?
Oh, fuck, dude. Now you got me.
Damn, I can't think of his name. Raheem?
Maybe.
I think it might have. No, I think Raheem got killed. I don't know, but
Dude, have we cleared Samuel L. Jackson's
yeah,
IMDb?
I don't. Yeah, I don't. But yeah, I'm going with as far as your answer. I'm going.
He's in Django too, isn't he? I know Jamie Foxx is the main character there, but isn't he in it?
He is in that. But I wasn't a fan of Django.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Django.
There were a lot of people who weren't really a fan of Django.
I watched it, but I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. Now I get what he was trying to do.
Understood,
you know what I mean?
Like conceptually.
Right. Like what he was trying to do. I just, like I say, when like that was a skewed perspective you had there. But you know what though? At the same time, now that I think about it.
What are you thinking? Hateful Eight is another one that was...
Hateful Eight. I knew. Listen, now that's.
I actually have not seen that one.
Oh,
so that's one
up
I might
there
have
too.
to.
So I got it on DVD. Yeah, we'll go Soul Men, Hateful Eight. No, we'll go Soul Men, Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight.
So Soulman passed Pulp Fiction there?
Yeah, just for the
because it's Bernie's last one,
right? And that is exactly right. Because they're very close, Soul Man and Pulp, but I'm gonna edge Soul Man out on that March Madness bracket.
All right, I haven't seen Hateful Eight.
It's good.
So I'm gonna go Soul Man, Black Snake Moan, Pulp, because I really like that.
Oh, that's what I was about to say about Quentin Tarantino. I guess you got it. I have to give him P's from my perspective.
Yeah.
Because I always say that I hate seeing those Black Pain movies.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
he tried to make an opposite
of him being the one fucking shit up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be as critical of it.
Yeah, but execution may be off there, just from there's probably a little bit more frequent use of colorful language than necessary in that one.
Well, you know, he's always been
I mean, for lack of a better term, if you listen to what's her name, he's just an asshole.
Right. But I mean, at the same time, those are usually the people that I gravitate.
Yeah, you gravitate towards assholes.
I mean?
I agree.
But him, he just kind of gives me a weird vibe. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he almost gives off that creepy like Woody Allen vibe. Like, and you know, he worked with Epstein and company for a long time, although he specifically kind of like stepped away from them. I didn't even think about that. But
I was thinking more of it from a standpoint of I think he would go too far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, well, I mean, that's basically what Charlize said.
Comfortable,
isn't that what Charlize said? That like he literally strangled her to get her to react in a certain way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she didn't necessarily come out like a Me Too. She came out more like, no, he's intense. And
well, I don't know if I would have a problem with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong, it's all about my reaction. Like if I defend myself just off of reaction, I apologize.
Right.
But at the same time, if you got what you
if you got the shot you needed, yeah.
I don't think I would have an issue with that. So much.
It's also different man-to-man power dynamic versus man-to-woman would be my only comment there.
No, I definitely didn't think of it that way. But you know what? I did. I did think of it that way because initially I did put my feet on Charlie Murphy's couch. I know that's what you said, isn't it? I did. I put my
that's
feet
the
on
one I
Charlie
meant to
Murphy's
hit, but I
couch.
hit the wrong one.
Oh, But the only reason why I said that is because when you originally said that, my mind knew me as a man is an issue, and the first thing I thought was, well, what if somebody did it to your daughter?
Right.
And my same reaction would be, did you get the shot? Did you get the fucking shot or no?
Shoot the J.
Shoot it. This might be what boosts her career. Are you saying that a little choke is all that boosted? It boosted you. He didn't even choke you with animosity. He just choked you to get a reaction.
Right.
Get over it.
I hear you.
You know who you're dealing with when you walk on set.
That's true. That's true. You did sign up for him, so you know he's a little fucked in the head.
Right. Period. So you gotta, but at the same time, he very rarely makes a fucked up movie.
Fair.
Now, he may make a movie that isn't as, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not necessarily a box
Marketed
office hit.
exactly. Marketed the same. Because one of my favorite movies he did was Death Proof with Kurt Russell. Love Death Proof. About the female stunt drivers and the dude that tried to kill him or something, and they ended up. Listen, I love Death Proof, but that was one of them like lower budget ones that people don't really know about. That was pretty good, but there were still some. What was the word I used? When I talked about him, there were still some like sketchy parts in that.
Yeah.
Like I know that's not the original word I was saying, but like
something's just off. Yeah.
Right. Like where was your head at when you wrote that specific scene?
Right. Well, and he's one of those that has basically said like he's doing 10 movies and then he's quitting.
Right.
And he's almost there. So.
And you know what? I'm not taking anything away from him, right? Because he may be one of those method actors in the director form.
In kind of, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You feel me? Where he has to get in the realm of the movie he's making. So choking an actress may not be outside of the realm if that's the movie that we're making.
Yeah, fair.
My dad used to do that shit all the time. Like when he was training me, like, no, do it this way. And yeah, you were a little too rough.
Right.
That shit hurt a little more than it usually did.
Right.
But I also understood exactly what he was saying when he did that.
And, all right, so Tarantino, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, of his movies, I think the one that I've watched the most is probably Inglourious Bastards.
I like the Bear Jew in that.
Yeah.
That was my guy.
That was your shit?
Yeah. The movie, I liked it. I did like it. I'm not going to act like I didn't like it. It was just so long and...
I mean, but all his movies feel like they go for
that was
ever.
just long. You know what I mean? And
that was part of the reason why I don't think I ever watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like,
never watched that either. But that's also kind of outside of my interest. But I don't give a fuck what these pricks are doing in Hollywood. I don't care if it's a true story or not or based. But
well, that's his thing, is that it always has elements of a true story. It doesn't mean that it's based on a true story. Or it's basically him rewriting history in his own way.
But what were we saying before that?
Just out of his movies, I think that's the one that I've seen the most. And I was trying. I mean, I've obviously Pulp Fiction. I've seen a fair amount. I don't know that I've actually made it through Reservoir Dogs. I think I've started it half a dozen times and never really watched it.
Same way. I've seen the beginning. I've probably seen it all. Like I've probably seen the beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
But never at one complete.
Well, that goes back to my commentary on Pineapple Express, which I didn't watch. But I think I've seen it multiple times. I've seen the beginning. I've seen the middle. I've seen the end. I haven't made it through the movie yet.
Oh my gosh, that is just that's one of my favorite movies ever.
I know. We talked about it last week.
Seth Rogen is just a gem to the world, first and foremost. I want everybody to know that.
Well, I love him in Knocked Up.
I love him. I don't think
him and Paul Rudd together are just phenomenal.
I don't think I've had Seth Rogen experience that I didn't enjoy.
Did you watch Sausage Party? I know you don't like animation.
I didn't really like Sausage
Yeah, see,
Party.
there you go.
You are right. You are right about that.
I found one.
Yeah, I didn't really like Sausage. But it wasn't made for me either.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's made for the South Park crowd.
And that might be the case. Yeah, I don't know. But that kind of humor doesn't get me.
I got you.
I'm not a fan
What
of
about the, what was the one he's done too much shit with Franco, but The Interview?
I wasn't mad at it. You know what I mean? I wasn't mad at it. I see why the other side of the world was. But I wasn't
personally
upset at it. You know what I mean? It wasn't an awful movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best, but it definitely wasn't an awful movie. I wouldn't say that.
And that's all that personally, that's my like Seth Rogen take in general.
See, I think
I kind of put him on like the same level as like Sacha Baron Cohen. Like,
oh no,
there are funny elements to your movies.
That's
but
disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
That is disrespectful, Seth. Where did Sacha Baron? Seth Rogen came from Freaks and Geeks.
I understand.
And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody didn't tell me he didn't have a directorial writing position on the back end of it as well.
Yeah, on Freaks and Geeks.
You know what I mean? Like he's a different mind. You know what I'm saying? And
he is.
And let's be honest, like he I feel like he started out like a Tyler Perry, where he was only marketing to one specific audience.
Yeah, he played the same character in every movie.
And then
he
tried to open up to, and that's where we got the sausage parties and all that. And I've never liked it when.
I mean, has he ever taken anything like dramatic, really?
40
50-50?
50-50.
Yeah.
50-50.
All right. That's a little more dramatic.
Kinda.
Still comedic elements.
The one with Adam Sandler, where he was the comedian and
I thought that
friend,
was Some Kind of Funny or
yeah, it's something with funny.
Yeah, Funny People.
Funny People.
That's what it is.
That one was a little more dramatic.
Right.
Just, because this whole situation and all that. I like that.
Yeah, but I would put that in the same boat as like Knocked Up. Like that character feels the same in all three of those movies.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand what you're saying about.
You know what I mean?
Character.
Like he's the comedic relief, but he can do dramatic. Even Zack and Miri Make a Porno. It's the same character.
That's where we get a little Dr. Dolittle-y though, because what I feel like is he was staying in his comfort zone. You feel what I'm saying? I said Dr. Dolittle. I meant Nutty Professor.
Right.
He was staying in his comfort zone. And I mean, that's a little different because Eddie was playing everyone, but he was still more comfortable him playing those roles
than playing against somebody else.
And it was innovative because you never saw the same person playing roles.
You hadn't seen that much in terms of CGI or
exactly.
Practical effects.
So I feel like Funny People's genius came from the fact that it was a movie literally about comedy, but it wasn't presented in a comedic manner. You feel what I'm saying?
I agree.
He was depressed about his roommate. Adam Sandler was a dick to him, and that was his dream guy. Like there was so much going on. Like they had funny moments like I never really laughed. There was loud, but I was like, that's.
There was another movie that was kind of based around stand-up comedy that came out more recently, and I think it was actually directed by Steve Byrne.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And it was kind of the same thing. Like it was a movie about stand-up comedy, but it wasn't like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was more of a drama than a comedy. Like, and I'm blanking on the name of it.
Did Bob Saget have a cameo in it?
Yes, he did. He did.
I know. See, I'm telling you, damn near. What's it called? And I never saw it either, but I know what you're talking about. Schmo down, holler at your boy. But yeah, I know exactly.
The opening act.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was gonna bug me.
But I feel like that's the genius of Seth Rogen. You know what I mean? Like he says, "I want to be in it because that's my stamp on the movie."
Yeah.
It's almost like Stan Lee making a cameo, but Seth is like, "No, I can feel like I can hold a roll down.
Right.
Let me in the whole role. But the genius of it is that everybody loved him for the comedy, and then you come out with a movie about comedy that isn't funny.
Right.
That's still
serious.
a good movie. Like that's some deep shit. Like
true. I agree.
I just think that people didn't look at it that way. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. But yeah, Seth is a gem. That's one of my top five. People.
Oh, the other one. Fucking Neighbors. Him and Rose Byrne and Neighbors.
Big fan of it.
I don't know if it's because I like her more, but at least the first Neighbors.
Yeah.
The second one was kind of but the first one was.
I wasn't a big fan of it.
She's like she has to pump.
Yeah.
And the breast milk goes out.
Yeah. It was all right. It was all right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, that's one I can pop on anytime, and I know I'm going to laugh at least a few times.
I'm sure I would, but there's nothing in there that stands out to me like a Pineapple Express. Pineapple Express, I can literally say, different scenes from the movie and just laugh off of me thinking about it. But
I gotcha.
Fuck the movie. Well, no, let's not fuck the movies because I have some movie thoughts.
Oh, do
this
you?
This week, what I did was I took all my notes in my brain.
Okay.
And it's your job.
They'll never come back out.
Right. That's what I was about to say. It's your job to steer me in the direction of these galaxies. Because you're Captain Kirk at the moment, right? We're not in a file cabinet. We're in galaxies. So you guys steer me there. But as far as movies go, two interesting things I saw this week with movies. One was first, I don't know anything about this, but Mighty Ducks has a new movie.
Not a new movie. They have a new series.
Oh, really?
Shar and I actually watched the first episode today. I mean, it's what you expect from like a Disney Plus reboot. Like,
is Emilio in it?
He is. He is not.
He
is not an active character yet. I think they're heading that way.
Okay.
But the premise is, at least in the pilot, so spoiler alert if you're going to watch the Mighty Ducks on Disney Plus, the pilot was this kid doesn't take hockey as seriously as everyone else. Everyone else on the Ducks currently is like those over-involved parents, right? Where like, oh, he's going to every camp this summer, and I have trainers here at the practice watching him.
And so he comes and shits on people and...
Well, the main character, so the kid...
that doesn't really care.
And he's not good. He gets cut. He gets cut from the Ducks at the beginning of the episode.
Oh.
And so he spends the whole episode basically pulling together your ragtag crew of misfits.
To challenge them.
To basically start their own team and join the league. So they start their own team.
Kind of like the Ducks.
Kind of. And in order to start their own team, they have to have a home court, basically.
Well, no, that was Mighty Ducks 2.
Yeah.
Because somebody stole the Ducks, didn't they?
No, you're thinking that's the third one.
No,
Second one was Team USA.
Right, and they came, that's what I'm thinking of. They were Team USA, and then something happened to where they left and became the Ducks.
They did it at halftime, basically, or in between periods.
They
switched jerseys, yeah.
Same thing.
Was the third one? The third one was when they went to college, and then they ended up doing like the freshman versus varsity scrimmage. And then when they came out for the freshman scrimmage, they were wearing their Ducks jerseys, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Same idea. Okay. Anyways, so this kid pulls together this ragtag group of misfits,
and in order
to sign up for the league or whatever to introduce themselves as a new team, they have to have a home stadium.
Right.
The person who owns the home stadium, which is like this rundown warehouse that happens to have exactly.
So what the fuck happened to his career?
Who the fuck knows? Well, by the third one, he wasn't the coach anymore. He actually.
But in high school, you was the man, homie.
I hear you.
What the fuck happened to you?
But he left coaching and he went back to being a lawyer, and we don't know what's happened to him in between.
Oh, he's a lawyer with a rundown shack.
Basically, like he ended up buying his own ice rink after he retired from law or some shit.
Okay.
So that's where that one is. The one that we didn't talk about last week that dropped on Disney Plus, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That shit is hot.
Is it?
him and Bucky together, like last week was very introductory, and they were kind of setting up the undertones and kind of the main plot.
Oh, it's a TV show?
Yeah.
Oh,
this
I
week
thought that was a movie.
No, this week they got to. So last week was very much. They were basically setting up everything that they were going to address in the series. Like, so basically it starts off with Falcon kind of saying he doesn't want the mantle because, and what you start
What's
to
the
learn.
mantle?
So at the end of Endgame, Steve Rogers gave him the shield.
Oh, is that the mantle?
Yeah, and so he basically said he didn't want to be Captain America, and so he gave it back. Because you can't have a black Captain America.
Exactly.
I think that's actually. I actually think that that's where they're going with it. And so throughout that first episode, like you kind of see what's been up with Bucky, and you see what's been up with Sam, and Sam, like they're very much they're taking race like head on. Because
if Winter Soldier is the next Captain America, because I know he was in the comic books, wasn't he? I think he
may have been at some point. But they've both been Captain America in the comics. Both Sam Wilson and Bucky have been.
I'm going to be... I just don't like Captain America.
I hear you.
And don't...
So what they've done at this point is they've introduced a new guy as Captain America.
Okay.
And basically Bucky's pissed off that Falcon gave up the mantle, basically.
Right.
And so neither one of them liked the new Captain America.
Why do you need a shield when you have wings and a laser?
I agree. But anyways, so this week's episode, they finally got back to a little bit of that buddy cop dynamic that you wanted to see between Falcon and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. And so far, it's a pretty solid show, man.
I like
and the production value, dude. Like, if you were to play the two episodes back to back, it's half of a movie.
That's what I bet. That's why I was saying I'm surprised that they went the show route with it because I'm sure
I will tell you
showed out a lot of money.
I will tell you if you watch it back after it's all done, it'll feel like a 5 to 6 hour movie.
Right. I'm sure they paid him a lot more doing it that way as opposed to dropping a movie for him.
I would imagine. I don't know in terms of pay. I can imagine that this. I think this is going to be a much bigger hit than WandaVision, and I think that this is going to be a much bigger, like, binge watch. Like, because I think it's only 6 episodes. And so you're going to be able to go back.
6 hour long episodes?
Like 40 minutes.
Right. Why? There's no other commercials on Disney Plus?
But that's the whole, most of their shows are somewhere between 30 and 50 minutes. But this one, I feel like the starting episode was like an hour and 10. This one was like 45, maybe.
Right.
But it looks like a movie. Like, the CGI on a certain scene this week was a little off, but...
Do they show fights on Disney Plus?
No, they do all that on Hulu.
Okay.
Because I think what's going to happen... So, technically, I think they do that on ESPN Plus. I think they're merging ESPN Plus and Hulu. Because Hulu has a better back-end technology.
Well, I'm just trying to... I mean, because there's no reason for me to get Disney Plus. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Just for like the Marvel shit and the Pixar movies isn't enough for me to pay.
It's like The Mandalorian, too.
I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would like a lot of that, but it's just not.
And you want the Mighty Ducks, just admit it.
That's what, 3 shows right there? It's not enough.
But the flip side is they're just going to keep going with the shows. Like, they have a full slate of Marvel shows. They have a full slate of Star Wars shows.
But see, here's the thing, and this is my mind.
But if you're not part of if you don't like those franchises, if you're not a diehard fan of those franchises.
No, I'm not even thinking like that. I'm thinking like my mind. The only reason why I can convince myself to keep a Netflix or a Hulu subscription is because there are multiple shows on that I enjoy that are continuing. You know what I mean? So those drops happen at different times. But if I'm buying Hulu Plus for 3 shows and I watch all 3 of them in 2 weeks, I'm now paying for something for months, years even, waiting for the next season to drop. And that's where these motherfuckers get in your pocket.
And honestly, I'm the same way with Paramount, or with what used to be CBS All Access.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
I only picked that up when Star Trek drops a new season. And honestly, I don't pick it up until it's halfway through that season of Star Trek, because then I'll start watching it, and by the time I've caught up, it's towards the end of the season, and then the day that last one drops, I cancel my subscription.
Right. And that's what and see me, I'm the kind of person that has subscriptions that I don't even use. And I'm like, just call and cancel it, and I just never find the time to. So before I'll jump into that pool, I want to know if I want to swim in it, and that doesn't seem like a pool.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of where I am. So I treat Showtime the same way. Even
I canceled that.
We pick it up just to watch Shameless, and once Shameless is over, I cancel.
I got it for the fights, and I love that more than anything. Yeah. But there were too many issues with that app, and after a while.
So were you using a standalone app, or were you getting it through Hulu?
No, I was using a standalone.
I would recommend getting it. Well, I don't know if you can do live.
That's the issue, is that the fights are only live. You can't. Well, you can stream them, but you have to wait for like a month for them to drop them on. And I'm not.
That's not
right. So at this point, it's just, what do you like more, your Pride or boxing? And Pride wins every time. Y'all can keep that shit. I'll watch that shit on Hulu.
Yeah.
Or YouTube.
I got you.
For free.
Right. Now, I'm kind of in the same position with like HBO. Like, if HBO weren't doing the movie thing right now, where they were doing day and date, like in theater and on HBO Max, I wouldn't still have HBO right now, because there's no HBO shows that I'm like diehard about.
Right.
I mean, we watched Last Week Tonight with like John Oliver every week, but.
And you know what? That even makes me feel better about the fighters not getting paid for my pay-per-view buy, because it's not my fault. It's Showtime's fault. Mm-hmm. If Showtime and all these streaming services got their shit together, maybe y'all get a little bit more money in y'all's pocket.
No
but
doubt.
Since all the conglomerates out there don't give a fuck, I don't either.
You're not wrong.
So I don't like that. I don't really like, stealing from a fighter's pocket. But at the same time, if YouTube's going to play it and Showtime doesn't work, I'm going to YouTube every time.
Right. No, I hear you.
That's not hard.
That's on them. Like, because I can tell you can't post any kind of Disney content on YouTube without them flagging it immediately. So that's on Showtime for not basically blocking it on YouTube.
Listen. Or fixing their fucking platform
to
where people
or making it possible to actually use their shit.
Right. So I'm cool. I've had
that's actually
issues.
I picked up, because we don't do cable anymore. I picked up AMC Plus to watch Walking Dead, just because it's the last season.
The new one with
we've stayed with it so far. Maggie's back.
She's running it. Isn't she running the thing now?
Kinda. Mm-hmm. Right now they're kind of, and I think it's because of COVID.
How old's the little kid?
I think he's like three or four.
See, I wouldn't be interested.
But Rick's daughter is, I think the last time we saw her, she was like 7 or 8. But anyways, right now, and I think it's because of COVID, they've split off basically into like 2-person groups. Mm-hmm. Which is, they were big on that in like season 3 or 4, I think.
Well, even from the start, like even at season 1,
there was a fair amount.
Episode, at the end of the season is when they teamed up,
right?
And I believe, if I remember correctly, they ended up splitting in 2 too. They didn't get a camp until around 3 or 4.
Right. It wasn't until they ended up at the farm with Herschel and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, all right, so jumping over to the chat real quick, just because we got a couple. Uncle Dan with us live from the start this week. What's up, right, Uncle Dan? He gave me a humph, I think, for Pineapple Express. He said Sacha Baron Cohen is way overrated, and he said,
I can't stand it.
And then he had a question: Cliff's brain is an Etch-a-Sketch tonight?
As far as what?
Well, because you were saying it's a filing cabinet versus a galaxy. Right. I think he was making a joke.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't know.
It's always an Etch-a-Sketch.
We have Applehead, which I don't know who that is, but
shout out to Applehead.
Shout out. Which is best, to die as a good man or to live as a monster?
I'm going to die as a good man.
I think so, too. I would agree with that.
I'm gonna die as a good.
You either you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Isn't that the Batman line?
Keep me around, baby. If you want me out of here, I can go tomorrow. You hear what I'm saying? I am not dying to stay around, so I'd much rather die on my morals than live to fuck somebody over. I don't get a joy out of doing shit like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I am only human. If I feel like you fucked me over, then yeah, I do get a joy out of.
I mean, I say it all the time. I'm petty.
Yeah, I am. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, something in me says, "Cliff, be the bigger man," but I'm like, nah. Teach him for the next motherfucker.
Right.
So
I'll be the last person they do that to.
That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? And half of that is me standing on my morals that I don't want to see anybody else go through this. So let me break your fingers if you stole from me.
Right. I'm with you. The only way I could see myself become the villain is the just becoming the old white guy.
Punisher shit. That would be the only way.
No, I'm even talking just if I live a long life and I get curmudgeon-y in my old age and I'm like, no, nobody else can have this. I'm going to die with it.
Well, that's shit.
Right. That's the only thing I can see. Like, your standard old white guy.
That's not even that. I mean, that's still fucked up, but I wouldn't by any means put that as like...
You don't think that's villainous?
Nah, because at the end of the day, you worked for that.
Fair enough.
Fuck them kids. I'm just playing.
Rita, you're out in the chat, I'm sure. I know that's how you feel.
But I mean, 100 though. I mean, at the end of the day, you worked for that. So, listen, like I told you, I didn't even know about an inheritance or anything like that until I was in my 30s.
Right.
I didn't know motherfuckers got money
that
from
was a
people
thing.
dying.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you and I have both talked about that. Both of our kids are probably not necessarily better off, but they make a nice sum of money if we go early.
Listen, and I'm not mad at you. I hope you get it, baby. I said it last time, and I said it. I hope you get it.
Nah, you ain't getting yours. Hey, Reg.
Listen, I hope you get it. I hope you get it. Best case scenario, I make it for you. But right now, it's looking like I hope you get it. Because I was thinking about this today, and we never touched on our inadvertence, and I was thinking,
oh, no.
A poor man's million and a rich man's million is two different things.
Absolutely.
Of course.
A rich man's million, he's reinvesting that shit.
I mean, you didn't even really, I'm not going to say that, but 9 times out of 10, you didn't have to touch too much to get that next million.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the only reason why I say that as my inadvertent is they say that the average millionaire has 7 different revenue streams at one specific time. My black ass has 3 that take up all of my time and drive me absolutely crazy.
But that's because you don't, well, other than the t-shirt game, you don't own the means of production.
Right.
That's capitalism. If you don't own the means of production, you don't actually, those revenue streams aren't yours. They're someone else's.
But I'm saying, though, at the same time, though, but this is what you're not taking into account, is that they say all money ain't good money, right? So
True.
When you use that analogy, the revenue stream would be owning the house. Now, owning the house also comes with, outside of the work that I'm doing, providing the materials, paying for the work, all of that, but then taking care of shit when it breaks down.
True.
You know what I mean?
You have the maintenance costs.
Dealing with tenants that don't want to pay rent. You feel what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I will always gamble that before I would gamble just fixing the house. But what I'm saying is that revenue stream is fine for me because nothing else is coming out for it.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the t-shirt game, I'm paying out. I'm making money, but I'm paying out just as much.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that money is more money to me than this money because this money isn't money. It's working for the future. You feel what I'm saying? You don't make money in the beginning. What you do is you show your consistency, like we've been talking about the podcast. You make sure you don't miss a week, and then people start noticing, regardless of if I like all the shirts you're making, I admire the fact that you have them on time for me every time I order.
Right.
So right now, I'm just building up a name at the moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I'm being a buck, it's not a situation where this is just something I dream to do. You know what I mean? But it's an extra revenue stream that I'll definitely take advantage of. But for the most part, like I said, this was for merch when we get to that point, and I got people that were interested in doing this in general. So if I can help you at the same time as make money off of what you're doing,
right,
I'm gonna take every avenue possible.
Absolutely.
Because at the same time, while you're helping me make money with your dreams, the equipment is still here for me to do what
to do your thing.
Right.
I hear you on that.
So, but what I'm getting at is the poor man's million, you may die before you get it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Just to get, I couldn't even imagine, even if 3 out of the 7 revenue streams worked for themselves, I could not imagine managing
the other 4 revenue streams
at this specific current point in my life.
Right.
Wouldn't work. I'd die from stress, overwork, all that.
Well, what you end up doing is you end up paying other people to manage those revenue streams, generally speaking. So either you have like a financial advisor, or you have
an intern at this motherfucker.
Right.
God knows I can't pay nobody. The fuck? You want to learn how to
that's
get a
what
couple
child labor's for.
revenue streams? Well, listen, send some of them iPhone factories.
I thought we learned last week. You were bringing karma in on the family business.
The child labor business is what I call it. Nah. She ain't ready.
So any other inadvertent thoughts since we went on that track?
That was my number one. My second inadvertent thought was, why are visible tailbones so unattractive?
So being able to see a nice ass that you can see the tailbone on, that's not good. Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, I don't even. I think that they're like. I think that the two cancel each other. I don't think you can find a nice ass that you
see the tailbone on. Right.
Right.
That's the old. That's a pancake ass. You just swoosh.
Listen, like almost like your waistline wraps around your entire body with no curvature, no addition in weight, meat,
I'm with you.
proportion.
I'm with you. Nope.
Like it, because I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was watching a porn or I just seen an ass out in
bony
public.
ass.
That might be the more likely of the two, but it had to be bent over because the first thing that I thought in myself was, that shit pokes out like an origami thing. You know how you fold a paper plane like that? Right? Like, what the fuck is going on back there? That has to be an issue. That has to be an issue.
Like, does it hurt for you to sit down if you've got no
what?
ass?
And that inadvertent thought came from the title that I saw when you said evolution, and I was thinking, couldn't be real. Because at this point, I shouldn't be seeing no fucking tailbones anywhere. All these thick-ass white girls out here, and I'm still seeing tailbones, and motherfuckers is trying to argue evolution. What is the evolutionary benefit of
still having a tailbone at this point?
Having a paper plane poking out the back of your spine.
That would hurt.
I don't get it. Like, I feel like you should slither. Real talk. Like, if you have a tailbone that I can visibly see from you bending over, you shouldn't be walking upright. You should be slithering. Because there's no reason why people should have to watch out for something that sharp. They say don't run with scissors, bitch, don't bend over, because there's a lot of tailbones.
Don't bend over with a visible tailbone.
Man, listen, that's all I'm saying. That was a inadvertent I got off of evolution.
Well, I don't want to jump quite into that yet, so I'll jump into my inadvertent thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you watch Hulu a fair amount?
I do, for the most part.
Have you seen, they've been playing this one all the time, the
You brought me back.
The whispering.
Captain Kirk.
The whispering.
Kevin
car
Bacon?
insurance commercial.
Oh, okay.
Where they want to do the commercial. It's really quiet because car insurance commercials are loud.
No.
And I'm like, why the fuck is there an ASMR auto insurance commercial?
Listen, that's what I thought about that YouTuber with the microphone. I said, God damn, what is that? That vibration. I don't know if I like it or don't, but it's a man's voice. It's bothering me.
Cliff is listening to male voices for ASMR.
Listen, I bought the microphone, so now I'm about to be OnlyFans.
Right. You can check out Cliff's OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/ we got to come up with a better nickname.
Hit the showers might work. Call it a double entendre.
onlyfans.com/ hit the showers. There you go. Yeah, that was one that I had, and then the other one I had was damn, I gotta look it up.
It was slides?
It was not about slides. It was about commercials, especially for small businesses that like feature their CEOs. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. This is not making me want to buy your product.
Unless you're the Rogaine guy. Not only am I the president,
I'm a customer.
That's the only time that works.
I don't fucking know.
Listen.
And there was that Super Bowl commercial that did the same thing.
What?
It was like some CEO of some not
John
really
Cena
well-known commercial.
in the Mountain Dew commercial.
Wait, what?
John Cena in the Mountain Dew commercial.
No, that shit's funny. It was I'm talking like a CEO that was like playing his ukulele for the commercial. Like, nobody fucking cares.
What's a ukulele?
A little guitar?
Like one of them Hawaiians.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if that was racist, but that's what it sounds like to me.
That's spot on. That's spot on.
That's what I thought. I should play it.
So those were my two. You got any other inadvertents, or I could jump into kind of why I put that as the topic?
Listen, I inadvert all the time.
I inadverted all over this.
Listen, I inadvert everywhere.
You
hear what I'm saying? I am ambidextrous with the inadverts. That's all I'm saying.
I told her it was just an inadvertent thought.
But if I'm being honest, the devil was in me today, so I'm going to hold back my thoughts just for this episode. Yeah, so let's get into the evolutionary tales.
So, and I think I've talked about this on the show before a little bit, but I was looking it up just because it popped into my mind. So it started off as an inadvertent thought.
And
what it ended up being was, certain species of cephalopods, so like octopi, I think like cuttlefish, squids. I didn't say you were dumb. Who said anything about you being dumb? Did I said what a cephalopod was?
Yeah.
It wasn't for you. It was for the audience.
Okay.
It might have been for Cliff.
It might have been, because you know what? When he said it, and afterwards, I was like, what's a cephalopod? No, wait, what? I know I have that stored in one of these file cabinets somewhere.
Anyways, so cephalopods, when they reproduce,
Or like fish and eggs.
No, so it depends. Like some of them, actually, I want to say at least the ones that I'm talking about. I want to say octopus give live birth, or at least some octopi are. I mean, whatever. I think the one that sparked this thought originally was that they give live birth because
octopussies?
it was a. That's probably what it is. Octopussies.
That's why they made. Look, that's why they made I the plural of some shit. Because sometimes you end up with a pussy on your hands.
Or pussies.
And in this day and age, everybody didn't want that. So Octopi is what we call
So there are certain species of octopi
cephalopod.
that when they give birth, they are in term with giving birth, they die.
Right.
So, and we watch a ton of nature documentaries because it's something we can throw on TV that we don't feel guilty watching as a family.
Oh,
but there are certain species that die, but the young or the offspring seems to almost retain knowledge from the parent.
Right.
Meaning they retain knowledge in terms of like things that shouldn't be instinctual, but should only be learned behaviors.
You're taking me there.
And so that thought came back into my mind today about how, one, that's kind of like the Assassin's Creed, like the principle of the Assassin's Creed games is that memories are passed down through DNA.
Right.
So I was that came back up just because I was like, all right, we don't have anything to talk about tonight or whatever. Yesterday I was like, we don't have anything to talk about tomorrow, so let me like think about stuff, and this was something that came back up. And I did a little research, and basically certain species of cephalopods rewrite up to like 30,000 different elements of their RNA.
Right.
Versus mammals and most other species of animals that only rewrite like 25 to 30 elements.
Right.
So they are evolving on an evolutionary exactly. They are evolving on an evolutionary scale like at 10,000 times the rate of humans. In terms of how much they're rewriting, the I think it was 3 different species of cephalopods, but yeah, it was octopus and squid were the big ones.
They could be arguably the smartest animal in the world,
right? Because they've learned how to use tools like you see. If you were to go to the ocean floor, like you could see an octopus using like basically created tools to like open up shellfish or something.
And you don't, and that's listen. We go back to another thing that I said is that the ocean is one of the least discovered places in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you know that it's not a fucking George Jetson setup down there full of octopuses that are like, and I don't mean like flying cars and all that, but you know what I mean?
Like what if we only see the dumb ones? The ones that leave their society or their civilization? I mean, they say that a lot too about like dolphins and whales is that dolphins have some level of communication that is actually almost telepathic in nature.
Right.
Like they communicate with like beeps and whistles or whatever, but they actually communicate through electrical impulses that share emotion and image.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. It kind of got me thinking like, I think we talked about this a little bit because I remember talking about, what was it, Star Trek 4, where the probe comes back and it wants to talk to humpback whales.
Right. Yeah. This wasn't last week. This was
a couple weeks
3
ago.
or 4 weeks ago. Yep.
But I was spiraling on that a little bit, and I kind of wanted to see like where we could maybe take a conversation. We did a little bit.
That was a little deep, and I didn't even hit everything. But before I get to that, one of the things that you said though, that's what, at least from my culture, that they say. You know what I mean? We touched on it last week where we said the death of an elder is something you cry for because that's the death of wisdom that may
and
not
knowledge.
have been passed on. But at the same time, they say that if you know your history, you feel what I'm saying, then that brings you strength.
Right.
Especially in the black culture, because no one knows their history. Now, that makes more sense to me because as we discussed last week, your brain's not a file cabinet, it's a galaxy.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So if you know where you come from, you may have unused knowledge about what you
have this solar system over here. Even though you're living in this one, you have reference.
Now I have a connect, so I can access those old memories. Yeah. Like I said, it might have slipped past people that listen, but I said the mouse experiment, the one where we've talked about it, but what they did was they gave a mouse sugar water and regular water. But what happened was, every time they drank the sugar water, they would electrocute the mouse to the point that the mouse got scared to even go near a water that smelled sweet. That mouse then had kids and grandkids that would not go next to that sugar water because they remembered the trauma that original mouse went through.
And I was thinking, like, is that the actual reason for something like deja vu? Or the actual reason for maybe we do, or, you know, even remembering quote unquote past lives. Is it tapping into something in our DNA or something in our genetic code that's basically giving us insight to previous generations' experiences?
Listen, I don't know. Then I only say my culture because I don't know about yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how you were raised. But they always say, follow your ancestors. Now, the issue with a lot of black people is you don't know who your ancestors are.
Right.
Now, the issue with Africa is, let's be honest, you can fit every other country in the world in that one continent.
Yeah. Are you from a population density perspective? Yes.
Well, I don't know which way they said it. I just know they
right.
said
You
it.
know that's a saying.
Right. It was, I don't mean.
Sorry, I don't mean to call you out on that. My bad. That was not my intent.
But regardless, what I'm getting at is there's no bigger continent in the world.
Got it.
So for you to think that my ancestors are from Africa is like saying you're white. Right?
Right.
White
what does that
mean anything.
Right.
What are you from? Norway? Are you from Belgium? Are you from Germany? Are you from Russia? Are you from where are you from?
Right.
So for me to say for let's say American history.
Well, and if you go back far enough, we're all from Africa.
You already know
Cradle of motherfucking civilization.
You already know that, my brethren. Like Mike, you already know that. But what I'm getting at is the natural history says you're black, you're from Africa. But we said that before. Just being black doesn't mean that you have anything to do with Africa. Right. You could be from Jamaica. You could be from Haiti. You could be from anywhere. You could be from Guatemala and be black. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. You could be from anywhere and be black. But when we break it down even like more minute and say, well, you're African American, that's still like saying I'm white.
Yeah.
Because we know that every other country can fit into that.
Yep.
So where am I from in Africa to know what ancestors I need to know what galaxy I need to be tapping into? And that's the whole reason why black history isn't taught like that, because let's be honest, if there is a minute bit of truth in that, nobody wants black folks to be able to tap into their ancestors. Because out of everybody, who would know more?
Right.
Who's been done the worst out of everybody in the world? Who would know more listening to their ancestors than anyone in this world?
Right. You're not. Yeah, absolutely.
So why would they want you to know is the thing.
Yeah.
So when people come
Have
up,
they...
even when we think about 23andMe,
yeah.
they tell you if you're black, we're probably not going to be able to
tell you where
down.
you're from.
Right. We figured as much. But let's be honest. Do you really know? I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something that you could do with my blood to let me know exactly where I'm from and exactly who my relatives were. But do you want me to know is the question.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Because if you did, that wouldn't be a blurb on your website saying if you're black, we may not be able to get it that accurate.
Right.
Well, what about every fucking body else?
Yeah.
You can get the Hispanics more accurate than the blacks and the...
Is it... No, I'm not even going to try to defend it.
Why? I mean, why not?
Like the only thing I was going to say is it that Africa has been more blended throughout its history because of the nature of the environment, where they've been more, we'll say, mobile throughout their history in terms of across Africa versus other areas of the world where once civilization and roots were settled down, they didn't commingle as much. Well, so almost being outside of Africa made you more tribalistic in nature, meaning
I know what you're
tribalistic
saying.
In terms of like you didn't cross over.
Well, see,
I don't know. That was the only thing that was kind of where I was trying to go there.
I think that you're 100% right. I would almost think that at a certain point in life, if you weren't from Africa, people looked at you as alien.
Right.
why would you not be from, especially when the Bering Strait was still here? You know what I mean? Like there wasn't oceans around everywhere. Right. Everybody could migrate by foot. Why wouldn't you be from that? It's almost like where you live in the city and somebody moves out to the country and you're like, well, why would you want to be out there?
Right.
You know what I mean? You may not be able to understand it. No. They understand it, though.
And that's where, like, if you look at the rest of the world and you look at Asian cultures, African cultures, Middle Eastern cultures, there's probably a closer link there than with, like, Western European and whites. Even South American.
Repeat what you say.
So basically saying that if you looked at just skin tone alone,
right.
If you looked at Asian cultures, Middle Eastern cultures, African cultures, even South American cultures, those are all more closely, I don't want to say related, but more closely, like, it just...
I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying there, but...
like, white becomes almost like the outcast at that point.
I mean, it really does it really does at that point, because... basically, what you're saying is, or at least what I'm gathering from what you're saying.
I'm not saying it clearly, so.
But what I'm gathering is, at that point in time, with everyone being in or around that African area, if you were to move off, you feel what I'm saying? Of course, you adapt to your environment.
Right.
So you get lighter, you get fairer skin, straighter hair, tighter noses.
The further you go north,
all that.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me say that at that point you would almost be alien, because to the people that originated there, they would be like, why would you leave anyway? And then the fact that you come back decades later and you don't look the same, it's like, whoa, whoa there. What's going on here?
Later or whatever, yeah.
Right.
Well, especially when you look at, like, indigenous peoples of the Americas, too. Like,
that all comes from
drops.
It all comes from drops. You know what they said, and I never knew what it meant, but I always kind of liked hearing it. Is that they said that the Viking countries that conquered all the places never had a problem with Africa or America. And I thought that's kind of odd. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you think of America as the America we know it.
Right.
Like as cowboys and Indians. But you don't think of it as the Aztexual America of still being like Mexico.
South America,
at that point. Yeah. Because let's be honest, culturally, Mexico is pretty... and when I say this, I don't mean disrespect, but I mean out there. You know what I mean? It's a unique culture.
It is.
A Mexican culture is, but then look at Africa.
I actually think Mexican and Africa...
that's even further out there, are the closest.
Are closer to one another.
Are the closest. Yeah. Is what I'm saying. So when I get at that, and I think of conquering-wise, the greatest conqueror of European or white descent were the Vikings. But they didn't have a problem with...
at least until the British Empire.
Well, even beyond that, let's say the Roman came before the British, but what I'm getting at is when it comes to stirring the pot.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? When it comes to stirring the pot, Vikings were the number one.
Right.
We come where we want, we fuck who we want. If we have kids with you after we leave, that's on y'all. Yeah. So then people start looking the same. You feel what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
But when you get to a point of people where it's like Aztecs, Africans, we don't really mess with them like that. Them, they're fine. Now, as we know, that's not because you didn't want to. That's a fact. Because, let's be honest, out of everybody in the world...
if you're looking at it from a natural resource perspective, which generally Vikings were...
right.
You're absolutely right.
Africa would be the one place you would want to go to. And I'm even looking at it like from like raping and pillaging.
Yeah.
I would much, and this is real wild for me to say, but I would much rather pillage, and I don't want to use the R word, I'd much rather pillage a place that doesn't have tailbone showing. You feel me? Than a place where I might get stabbed in my torso.
Right.
After I killed all your men, the woman killed me because your tailbone is like an origami crane. Right, you know what I mean? Like, come on now.
For the audio listeners, Mike is making an origami crane with his hand in front of the camera.
Oh shit, man. I'm sweating.
Allegedly.
That's hilarious. But you get what I'm getting at. If I was a Viking and I'm big as shit, the only thing that would stop me from pillaging the African race would be a 7-foot tribe.
Right. I knew we were coming back to the 8-foot Africans.
And I'd be like, oh shit, not
this
them
shit,
though.
This shit ain't worth
Let's
it.
reverse paddle this shit back away from these motherfuckers.
I mean, having played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's very hard to back up a ship. But yeah.
Right, let's back that. We're going to do it today. And then they got to Mexico and they was like, oh, y'all are the Africans, little brothers and sisters. Let's back away from y'all too. Let's leave y'all alone. We off to the next European area.
Y'all might be more G's than us. Fuck it, we're out.
Listen, I'm just saying. When you really think about it, the history tells itself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and so what's interesting is when you think about, and again, I think it all comes back to kind of evolution and praying to the sun, but like you look at the Egyptian pyramids versus like the pyramids of Tulum down in like Mexico.
Right.
Very comparable.
Right.
Very comparable feats, but we talk about the 7 wonders of the world and it's the Egyptian pyramids, and it's like the same shit was happening in Mexico.
Well, see, that's the thing though.
And honestly, those two seem comparable from a
They weren't even like
from a cultural aspect,
right? And that's what I'm getting at though,
Yeah.
is that the only difference because they say that they're still aligned the same way based on those specific stars, the North Stars and all that, but they weren't as big, which makes sense though. You feel what I'm saying? Because if I moved away from my people and I don't have the resources to do what my people did, I can still make something happen in a tribute, right? And that may not be the same grand scale that you did, but the fact that it all aligns lets you know the linear, and I don't want to say linear, but the history.
The shared history, or, I mean, yeah. It kind of goes back to our conversation around like the general progression of civilization, right? Is from a deity perspective, you went from worshiping the natural elements to people to a single monolithic religion.
And the one thing that you can relate to all of those is that we went down a line of control.
Agreed.
You feel what I'm saying? Because like I said, when you pray to a sun, even if you kill, even if you steal, rob, rape, do whatever, that sun's still going to shine.
Sun's still going to come up tomorrow.
Still going to shine on you regardless.
Right.
But once you take it to, oh, it's Thor, the god of war. Oh, you're not going to war? Well, you're damned.
Right.
Oh, now it's Jesus. Oh, you sin and you don't want to repent and praise me? You're damned.
Right.
That's where it kind of gets weird to me. Like, history doesn't quite tell me this is correct.
Right. If that were the case, America would have fallen a long time ago.
You feel what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong.
We are a nation of sin.
I am a believer in a higher power. Definitely know for a fact that one exists. Don't ask me how. Tune into older podcasts. But when we start getting into like the Jesus and this, that's where I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that God didn't sacrifice something or that I just don't know if I trust your story about it.
Right. Well, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, and I will use this to come full circle with the text that I sent you after our show last week. That if you look at the universe as being a living creature of which we are a part of it, right? We talked about that a little bit last week. That's the whole principle behind Star Wars and the Force, is that we all are part of this energy field called the Force.
Right.
And the Force has, yes, it has kind of dark side, light side, but you need both to have balance.
Right.
And so when you look at the same thing when it comes to kind of world religions, like you still, the problem with world religions is that there is no balance.
Right.
It's all one-sided one way or the other. And triggering the inadvertent thought around that is that you have to have both the dark and the light from a Star Wars perspective, because you have to have that raw emotion as well as the zen and
so what Mike's basically saying is a life without Leopold Strauss's and Hitler's and all that would be a life not worth living. No,
I mean, because at that point you don't have any kind of unification.
It's almost like what we talked
light
about.
Light side and dark side is more about like raw emotion versus logic and zen, right? Like inward focus versus outward focus.
Right.
Is really the difference between light and dark and in Star Wars anyways.
Right.
Is that the dark side is nothing but raw emotion. The light side is how do you find inner peace within that raw emotion.
Right.
What I'm saying is Listen, life in general, you actually need both.
My lightsaber would be purple. You hear me? I don't know how you can mix
like Samuel! And we brought it full circle on the podcast back to motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
I trust Mike. I don't know Samuel L's lightsaber color,
it
but
is purple.
It was it?
It was indeed.
Maybe they knew something we didn't know, man. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Oh shit.
I'm trying to tell y'all.
So what else you got on this topic? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I wanted to at least throw in the shout from last week on.
What we will throw in is this, and this I feel like it ties in, and this is something that we were probably going to touch on the podcast, not tomorrow, next week. For all y'all that don't know, check out the sports podcast, Hit the Showers, presented by the Foolproof Entertainment Network. But Trent Brown Jr. plays for the Portland Trail Blazers, has just been traded from the Portland Trail Blazers to the Raptors.
Okay.
Now, the article says, this is what I'm getting at. Now, the article says, let me pull it up. His father. Okay, here it goes right here. Where's it at? Okay. So listen, in 1998, Gary Trent Sr. was traded from the Blazers to the Raptors 41 games into his third NBA season. 23 years later, Gary Trent Jr. gets traded from Portland to Toronto 41 games into his third NBA season.
That's crazy.
And my first thought was, that's not a coincidence. But then I thought about it.
I mean, it kind of has to be, right?
Right, somewhat. Like that the stars aligned
right.
for that to happen, because they wouldn't have traded him to the Raptors unless they got something back from the Raptors, which means that trade could have been made somewhere else if they would have gotten more back from that team, which means that it wasn't just an intentional thing, because they wouldn't have given them to the Raptors unless they were receiving something in return.
Right.
Which lets me know that is the natural rotation of things.
Okay.
It just so happened that we came back around to that level at that time with that player.
Well, I mean, if you look at... So, and I think I've used this example before, like, Star Wars is poetry like that. Like, you hit this beat, then you hit this beat, and then it's all cyclical. Like,
right.
If you... And it's funny, we were talking about Vikings earlier.
Right.
The Viking mythology, or the Norse mythology,
right.
is Ragnarok.
Right.
Which is the end of the world, which triggers the beginning of the world.
Right.
Like, I think that there is definitely credence to the philosophy of basically time isn't linear, it's cyclical.
Yeah, I know. We've been preaching that from a...
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what you see with like reincarnation or something along that line. Is it's possible you've lived this life before. It's also possible that you've lived other lives before.
Right.
We're just at a new point in the cycle where, and again, coming back to the deja vu example, if we've lived this cycle before and we are reincarnated into this particular body in this
right.
particular cycle, Deja vu makes a lot of sense.
It's funny, and before I say what I was gonna say, that's Hindu belief. Hindu belief is that you keep repeating the same life
until you manage
get
to
it right.
Basically elevate.
And then you elevate to the next level, which doesn't necessarily mean heaven.
No.
That could just be a next progression in that evolution, and then you keep working your way up. But I was just thinking about it today, right? Because, and I can remember the exact point in time I was thinking about it. It was at the start of my day. Had just got my coffee.
Okay. You're a coffee drinker?
Yeah, I get a coffee in the morning.
All right.
Yeah, not enough to.
I don't know. I don't know that I would have thought that, but all right.
I usually wouldn't.
You don't do cake? Do you do K-cups or do you do?
What's that?
Like the little single-use cups. It's a white people thing.
Oh, no,
like the Keurig.
I don't even know what that is. Oh, the thing where you put the little
little cup.
Sour cream looking cup
yes.
in it. No.
All right.
No, I go to Speedway.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Speedway guy.
I hear you.
You feel what I'm saying?
That one right there on Broad?
Broad and James, yeah. Yep.
I go there for my morning diet
pour
Pepsi.
Out I just hit the machine and it does its thing. But I was leaving from there and I was thinking about it. I was listening to my morning podcast. Every morning, like on my way, I always listen to my boxing podcast.
Okay.
And if I'm being 100% honest,
I have fallen off of listening to podcasts lately just because my fucking weekdays have been murder.
Oh, I don't have a choice. Listen, I can get the work done in silence.
Right.
But
that's no fun.
It's not even about fun. Like, I'm not even in my flow at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just feeling like I'm going through the motions, but unless I'm comfortable with my day routine.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know what I mean? But I was listening to my boxing podcast, right? And that's always been my biggest issue. My biggest, like...
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like if I was able to compete at the time when I wanted and should have been, where would I be now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the time that I got back into it, I was almost too late.
Too old
you know
to be in the
like,
training.
And I'm saying even at the end, coming from somebody that knows the sport and had been into it at that age, even at 18, it's kind of too late. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're not
for
already
me,
in it, or
right? For me, because now I got to start my amateur career all over again, type shit, and then work my way up to get enough fights to get looked at to go pro.
Right.
And we all know where I was at 18. You know what I mean? That wasn't somewhere where I could have been. But at the same time, I feel like would I have been there if I would have been doing that? You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
So then I thought, and this is where my thought came from, is that it's like, well, if evolution is real, would you evolve as someone? Because my mind, it's all about energy, right? You know what I mean? My mind's not going to change. I may be a different person. I may be a little less aggressive or a little less forward or a little less, but I'm still going to be me at the end of the day. Otherwise, if you had a different mind, how could you ever elevate?
Your aura is going to be the same.
Exactly. So I feel like whatever body you put me in, I'm still going to be me. So in this next life, if that is an opportunity, which may not be, it may be a completely different outer space galactic gladiator. Instead of boxing, they fight with laser swords. Well, am I still going to be able to do that? Like, that's a legit thought in my mind. Like, is that, like, I almost kind of, what's the word? Not idolize, not sexualize, not, what's the last one I was thinking of? But when they say, like, Valhalla, or what was it for the Romans where they say you die,
the Elysian Fields,
and you go to a never-ending fight where you just fight and be in joy for the rest of your. That's something that intrigues me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that intrigues me. Like I'm intrigued by that. That doesn't see that I could see that being a heaven. You know what I mean? A never-ending fight where it's like, yeah, we might die today, but we'll be back tomorrow and we'll be doing this all over. That I could see myself getting on board with. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know that I try to be a good person by the rules of today. Don't know if I'd want to be in a heaven the way they describe it now. Okay. You know what I mean? Like unless that's involved, unless all of our heavens are different and I can create my own.
Not sure.
Not interested in that, wanting to go there. Now, I'm also not interested in wanting to go to your hell either, but that doesn't intrigue me and that doesn't either.
I think the whole thing with going to a Catholic school, like learning about what the actual teaching is that it's something that you don't, like, we can't even comprehend.
Right, and that's what I get from freedom. The freedom, like me, even though I feel the way I feel, and let's be honest, I try to be as free as I possibly can. Yeah. I know that I'm still shackled by
the beliefs that you were raised with. Or?
Just not even the beliefs, just the natural swing of things, the gravity of the world.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's shackled by the gravity of this specific world. Not to say that the different world's gravity might be different. It's probably going to be different. Doesn't know if it's going to be better or worse.
Well, and I think that's where like a movie like Soul actually maybe gets it right. Where,
so as far as like the Pixar joint?
Yeah, just in terms of the afterworld being like it is so metaphysical and non-corporeal. And again, I'll hit you with the Star Wars line.
Well, before you do
luminous beings are we?
Like, wait, what was that?
Luminous beings, like we're not. How can you be engaged in an ongoing or an everlasting kind of gladiatorial if there is no physical in terms of
here's
that
the
next
thing,
stage
and it's
of
funny
evolution.
that you say that. It's funny that you say that because I thought to myself, if I wanted to, what time where are we at right now?
About an hour and a half, 90 minutes in.
Okay, because I might need to take a piss in a second.
All right.
But it's funny that you said that because I thought to myself further. This is way back in the day, years ago. I was thinking, if heaven was my heaven, then I would be able to pick who I want in it.
Agreed.
And I don't mean who I want in it. Very specifically, I mean who I want in it. You know what I mean? May have grown apart from Mike in our 30s. But Mike in my 20s was my guy. That's the one I want in my heaven, or I don't want him there. Aaron, you know what I mean, may have been close in high school, may have grown apart in our later years. Well, I don't want that later year Aaron in my heaven. I want that Aaron in my heaven. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So at that point, it has to be, in order for him to be in his own heaven, he has to then be an extension of himself in mine.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? Which means that you can still be in your heaven, but you're not the same you that's in mine.
But I think that's where I go with, and I think it ties back to the aura comment. And you made the comment around like,
and that was just me throwing out. No, I wasn't saying like specifically.
I hear what I'm saying, but I'm talking like, if it is the energy of you, I don't know that it matters.
Which one it is?
Because does your energy really change that much throughout your life? Or is it your experiences that shape you? But that core energy, is that core energy, that soul, that core energy, is that still the same? Then at that point, does it matter which quote-unquote version? You know what I mean? Like,
I get exactly what you're saying.
If you evolve and the next phase is non-physical and you're not hindered by experience and it is you as pure energy.
Well, see, the way my mind works is I still have to know it.
Okay.
Right? So if
you want your reference point to be the 20-year version of him.
Somewhat. And what I'm getting at by that is, so maybe I get your aura, right? But maybe that 20-year that I loved of you was a watered down version of yourself.
Okay.
So now you giving me your whole aura in my heaven is too much for me.
That's too much.
I hear what you're saying. Doesn't make it my heaven anymore.
Right.
That makes me have to adapt like the world I'm currently living in.
Yeah.
And that doesn't equal heaven in my mind. So I much rather fight with a whole bunch of people I don't know in heaven than hope that I meet the people I knew once before.
That they meet.
You know what I mean?
That basically they meet your expectations.
Right. Like my heaven would be erasing all thought and memory and just going into the situation as opposed to hoping I can pick and choose what goes in it. Because maybe some of the things that I may pick in my heaven may not be allowed in heaven.
Fair.
You feel what I'm saying?
I hear you there.
So take me to Valhalla. You feel me? Like that makes more sense to me than hoping that my my euphoric existence is exactly how I picture it and not the way someone else does. Yeah. Because even if it is God's heaven, that's not your heaven.
That's not your view of it.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's where I get a little confused and I end up leaning into the evolution. Because like you said, like the deja vu, all the things that go on, like it has to be something going on here that we're not recognizing in our human brains.
Right. It's either that or the simulation, right?
Right, and you just have that error code in there to block thought beyond that cerebral
and
cortex.
Sometimes there's a glitch, and sometimes it comes back around. We may be able to get
through and be like, hold up, motherfucker. I think I saw your face behind that screen.
We back here?
Right. And listen, and here's what's even crazier. This is my mind. I may be able to see you through that computer screen as that simulation, right? Mm-hmm. But we talked about my heaven. You may exist here. You feel me?
Yeah.
So while you think you're in control in that computer screen, and you may be, I see you here as well. And you're in my world.
Right.
So I can do whatever I want to this version of you.
Yeah.
That version of you may feel like you're in control, but what's this version of you feeling like having to deal with me?
Well, and then you get into the multiverse principle, which is all realities exist in parallel.
Which is why I always try to be...
There is a universe where we have this show, and we are Joe Rogan.
Right. And it's this fucking universe. It better be. For y'all end up seeing the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? Listen. But that's interesting. That's very deep. All that with no marijuana, huh?
I guess.
All that with no Seth Rogen, huh? And marijuana's still criminal. That's why.
Because we would have too much.
Right, that's why.
We would.
That's why then your thoughts expand and you think, wait, maybe I can connect this galaxy to that galaxy. I think I found a wormhole. And then the whole...
The world between worlds,
crumbles, man. Implodes, implosion.
How do you break down that barrier?
Well, I tell you what. I'm not going to say that. That would have been a little too
much?
Yeah. But my lower half's heaven would be to hit that toilet. I'll say that. We'll phrase it that
how
way.
How about we do a quick 5-minute and then we'll come back and we'll wrap the show up in the last 30 minutes.
I'm with that.
All right. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll be right back here on Do Fools Agree. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back. You might have heard Cliff burp. I'm not sure.
I don't remember. That must have been an alternate universe.
different guy. Different guy.
Must have been a wormhole that came through.
Oh man. Well,
where were we at? What were we on?
I mean, we were way deep. Did I tell you I changed the settings in terms of the topic of the podcast?
Did you? So it's not evolution anymore?
No. I mean the basically the categorization of it on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, okay.
After our last, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 episodes, I changed it from comedy to like society and culture because I feel like we've gotten away from, not that we don't still have comedic elements, but that we're a little more
that might be dangerous for me.
A little more
That
evolving.
might be dangerous for me because a lot of things I say in joke, you know what I mean? And now they might
a lot of truth is said in jest.
They might Alex Jones me if you put it at culture. They're gonna be like, he wasn't playing. Maybe I wasn't, motherfucker.
I was about to say, would that really bother you?
No, it really
I
wouldn't.
didn't think it would.
Now that I think about it, it wouldn't.
Man.
Because I'd be better off behind the desk than in a tent on Skid Row. Let me tell you that. Because it'd be a lot less tense once I hit the town. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. Alex Jones in particular he's very intense.
Speaking of tense, though.
Is this like slides?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did listen back.
Listen, and you gotta watch them. You gotta watch all kinds of slides. Slipping slides.
Those are my favorite.
Aluminum slides.
Those suck in the sun.
Those swirly slides. Those bumpy slides, you better watch out what kind of pants your kids is wearing, or they might just
end up with a crane.
Evil Knievel.
Call back.
Or hurt they crane.
Allegedly.
You don't want it. So watch them goddamn slides.
True.
But what was I even saying?
I don't fucking know, dude.
Let's run back up that slide and see if we can rewind my mind.
I don't know where you were.
I was so close to I could taste it when I just said that. We were talking about what we were talking about before we left.
Before we left was like different forms of heaven and...
But then you said, what did you say when I asked you what we were talking about? You said something about, you changed the settings.
Oh, I changed it to society and culture.
And I said, okay. So I said that.
And we were talking about Alex Jones, and you sounded like you were about to go on something off of that, but I don't think it was actually related. I think it triggered something in your filing your database.
Right, my Etch-a-Sketch.
Right. Call back to the chat. There you go. See?
Damn, I felt like it was important too, but
it'll come back to you if it was.
What is anymore? Yep, nope, oh well. But anyway, slides.
No, stop it.
What, did we ever get to evolution?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. It started off with the cephalopod conversation.
Oh, yeah, the octopus.
And then we kind of went into societal evolution, and then, yeah.
I don't know. I think we're in a de-evolutionary state right now.
Well, this goes back to we're either on the path to utopia or oblivion, and you are firmly in the oblivion camp.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, honestly, like, I know evolution happens, like, over generations, but...
Well, and that's actually kind of what started off the conversation, was that in those species of cephalopods, evolution can actually happen, like, in a single generation.
Mm-hmm.
And what would that look like? I mean, this was actually the intent of the conversation when I posted it, was what would that level of evolution look like in humans?
You wouldn't see it.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't see it. Like, just like you don't see it in octopi.
Okay.
You wouldn't see it because it's happening internally. You feel what I'm saying? That evolution is happening internally.
I hear what you're saying there.
That's where it may swerve people like me that think of evolution like monkeys to humans, which I don't believe. But because if that's the case, then why are there still fucking monkeys?
I hear your point there. What I would say is,
you would see half-formed monkeys.
There were branches of it, which you do. You see all sorts of different types of apes, monkeys, primates in general.
Where are the Geico guys? Where are the cavemen at?
Yeah.
That's the half-formed is what I'm getting at. That almost human, but didn't quite make it. You're still on that. And you don't see that. You would see a lot more of that if evolution was a thing. Because certain people would start their evolutionary process and then fall off because they're not. Well,
the theory there is that it diverted. It either diverted into human or diverted into even more animalistic.
So here's my question.
So you basically ended up with the silverbacks on one side and you ended up with humans on the other.
Now that's ignorant. And I don't care.
Why is that ignorant?
That's ignorant as fuck because a silverback.
That's ignorant.
So listen, we're saying that a bigger version of is the evolutionary growth of that animal.
Yes. No, I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, think of it from that perspective. So a monkey started as a monkey and then went to a gorilla. So where are the half gorillas to people? You feel me? Because it's not like certain people just stopped evolving.
See, you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying that monkeys evolved to chimpanzees. Chimpanzees evolved to gorillas, but chimpanzees also branched off and grew into humans. So on one set, because evolution isn't a straight line. So listen to what I'm saying.
I think that's where you're missing me, though.
It's a branch, though.
Right. I think that's where you're missing me, though.
Certain ones in certain environments evolved from an intelligence standpoint. Other ones evolved from a physicality and brute force standpoint.
So I think what I'm getting at is it's not levels. You feel me? It's not like you reach a level and stop.
No. It's branching paths.
Right. If we're talking about evolution, though, there would be different versions of that chimpanzee. And I don't mean species that there would like cousins. I mean that chimpanzee would be more formed into a human than stop. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, why does that chimpanzee look like he's more of a man and that one looks like more of a...
Obviously, you've never seen Planet of the Apes.
Well, I've seen the movie, but show me the zoo. You feel me? Show me the monkey.
So you're saying that there, like, if that were really
there would be different versions, like skin color.
I hear what you're saying there,
and there's not. So that makes no sense to me. Beyond that, when we were looking into last week's episode, we were talking about weird brain function. I found out that the scientists discovered that in our cerebral cortex, we have a core in the actual that monkeys don't have. And the first thing I thought when he said that was, so are we going to get into evolution and all this? Like, Don't just say we just discovered something and then not address the thing.
What the implications are.
Right. That's like flat earth. Like, we discovered the moon rotates around the world, but we won't address these flat earthers. Like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of, like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, so don't pull the wool over my eyes is all I'm saying. Okay. You feel what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that things don't evolve, right? But I think that we have a loose term for evolution, right?
Okay.
Just because I keep my hand in water and it wrinkles and eventually the webbing starts to grow out, doesn't mean I've evolved. That means I've changed and adapted to that. That's two different things. Adaptation, and evolution are two completely different things. And I think we lose track.
But the philosophy there is adaptation is usually within the same generation, whereas evolution is after multiple generations.
Right. So
it's harder to track evolution.
So basically what you're saying is if little Elian Gonzalez never got pulled out of that water, he'd be a dolphin? He'd grow gills?
No, because at that point he doesn't survive.
But that would be evolution. If you were to throw a human in water and they could survive for years, they should evolve.
What would be the
a mermaid?
What would be the evolution? Would be the polar ice caps melt. We end up in water world like Kevin Costner, and not in that first generation, but 10 generations down the line, we've learned our bodies have changed physically to adapt to living in a water-based environment versus a land-based one.
That makes a little more sense. That makes a little more sense.
But that's kind of. But where I started with this was on the octopus side, which is the amount of code that they are rewriting from one generation to the next is 10,000 times more than we rewrite from a human species.
And we talked about that last week. We said that. Well, I said that there have been studies that they said that the evolution of the human brain has done more. 10 times more in the past couple years than it has ever in the past. Right. And that, I don't even know if you
That was actually the quote from the book, by the way, was that every decade we've learned more about it was learning more about it, not
right. Yours
was about evolve. You're right.
Yeah, my fault. Right. But what was my point though?
I never know what your point is.
My point, I don't think I do either. I think I'm just swimming, hoping I learn.
Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? Who's the more?
I just don't. I don't see how. I don't see. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're. That's the whole reason why I feel like we're at the
cusp because we don't see evolution happening in humans right now. We almost seem to be devolving.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I think of clear and utter examples of this, the first thing that comes to mind is like how have our sense of humor is reversed? Like we're attacking comedians now. Yeah. Saying you shouldn't be able to say that. You shouldn't be able to do. Now I get it if you're, attacking someone.
So you're thinking of it more from a societal impact versus than an individual human impact at that point. You're basically saying like as a society we're
right, and I feel like the society is what's de-evolving us. Yeah. The fact that we're not thinking on our own 10 toes and we're riding with the consensus because it's easy to now with social media. We now don't think for ourselves and are expecting a vote. Right. We don't know what to do if it's not a vote. If everybody didn't vote and it's not like what does that mean though? Yeah. You know what I mean? What are we voting for? What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And nobody seems to be waking up and saying, okay, now let's cool out here. Like, let the comedians work. Like, we're not talking about, what's the guy's name that busted in the door in Seinfeld? We're not talking about Kramer here. Yeah. Spitting niggers out on the stage.
Don't do that.
You know what I mean? Like, so why can't they be funny? Are we really at a point where we're devolving back to where we can't even laugh? Well, we shouldn't even dance? We can't be footloose?
That's the thing with comedy, is that comedy is meant to make you uncomfortable because that uncomfortability is what makes you laugh.
Right. And now we're at a point where no one should feel
That's the problem.
Fuck you.
You
Listen,
just nailed it.
The number one person that feels, fuck you. I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're gay or you're straight. Fuck you. Because if you feel like this world should adapt to you because you feel uncomfortable, you're an octopi. And I don't mean that in the good way, as in the evolution of brain. I mean that is in plural octopussies. That's what I'm saying. So let's just make that clear here. That we're developing into a world of grammarless octopi.
I understand what you're trying to say. I don't think you're saying it very well.
I'm saying it exactly. I'm saying it exactly the way I intended to.
Well, that doesn't. Yeah.
Well, change.
I won't argue with that.
Change your way of thinking, and maybe you'd understand what I'm saying. Octopussy.
We talking about
Yeah, well,
practice.
you know,
Not
like,
a game,
subscribe,
not
share
a
if
game,
you like it.
Not
Yeah.
a game. We talking about.
But that's the truth. I mean, that's the truth. I can't think of any other way. Like, why do we have to all move as a group?
Well, and honestly, once you move towards that monolithic form of thinking, there is no more evolution.
I don't get it.
You have to have people that stand out.
I don't want to
away
be a
from
part of
that
y'all's
in
group.
order to grow as a society, grow as
Right. I don't want to be a part of y'all's group, and I don't plan to be,
Yeah.
and I won't, and nobody can make me.
It's true.
You feel me? I can think and laugh at whatever the fuck I want to think and laugh about, and nobody will stop me.
Well, and we're almost so to that point. We are getting to a point as a society around wanting to make everybody feel comfortable versus giving people the tools to feel comfortable outside of changing their environment to make them feel comfortable.
It's soft shit.
But I will actually take it in the other direction. I will take it in the neuroscience conversation from last month or last week about if we can learn how the brain functions and be able to teach people how to harness that whatever that it factor is that makes people confident and comfortable in any given situation.
But do you want that though?
You don't necessarily.
I wouldn't.
It's not necessarily the comfort aspect, but for it not to eat away at you as a person.
Well, see.
So like,
I understand what you're saying. 100%.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm trying to say that we need to build people that are stronger that can handle any situation versus building a society which makes everyone feel comfortable.
Right. And my whole thing is I would much rather cut out the fat than make everyone comfortable. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You got something in the chat? Yeah,
I do. So Uncle Dan chimed in. He said, this has moved on from evolution to changes in culture. On that score, I agree with Cliff mostly. People were pissed because Krispy Kreme offered a free donut for people who got vaccinated. What the fuck? It just said what, but
right. I mean, I understand exactly what he's saying. Like that's the world that.
And
we
I
live
agree
in.
with that. I have no disagreement with that. Like,
but see, this is what's so dangerous about it. Is because people think they're so woke, right? And they're doing things to change to make it better for others, right? But in the all actuality, what you're doing is you're setting a benchmark.
You're actually disarming them.
Right. Everyone is a snowflake, and I don't mean like soft. I mean different. So to say that everyone should be on a norm is asinine because no one should be
there is no normal.
Right, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it should be more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a shock for two people to think the same way than for two people to not to.
Right.
That makes more sense to me. That we just don't think the same and it's fine.
Right.
We don't understand each other and that's fine. But are we working together in the same way?
And
you know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because I've actually had a lot of thought about that, like, because I talked earlier about the fact that we're getting ready to grow my team. Right now, I think we have a very good balance of different personality types, different skill sets. What I worry about is that if we double the size of it, do I fall into a trap where like I have a camp that is more one way than the other way, and then does that make us less versatile at that point? It's
funny that you say that. And listen, this may be the first realization that I've had on this podcast, and that is that I need a new job. Period, point blank, because what you just said is that, and I told my supervisor this. Understand, America, I am honest to a fault.
Yeah.
I told my supervisor, you cannot have someone like me on your team. No one in the company has been here longer than me on this team.
Yeah.
That means I know the right ways, the wrong ways, and the ways you are trying to do things.
Yeah.
It's not going to work because I know more than you. Not because you have to kill those people. Like in war.
Again, I come back to Star Wars and Kylo Ren, which is
You don't
let the past die.
Right.
Kill it if you have to.
You don't You don't keep the lieutenant of the guy that you just conquered.
Right.
Because he remembers the way the old way went. And he'll sway people to go with that old way. Kill that man. And I told them the exact same way. Listen,
and honestly, if he adapts to you, then you know he wasn't loyal to begin with.
Kill him either way.
Right.
Either way, he has to go. And that's what I'm telling them about me. I've been here too long. If you're not going to let me go to another team, fire me. Get rid of me. Because this is not going to work moving forward. Because I see the mistakes that those people are making. But I'm not in a position to be able to say, I'm sorry. That's not right. You're driving us back to where we were before. But nobody's going to listen to me. Because everybody else that I started with have gone on. They've either quit or left.
And I'm with you on that front in that if they're not willing to listen to you, then you need to make that decision. What I would say is some leaders do come in and they are willing to listen and they will actually change their approach based on what you tell them. But if that's not what you're seeing, then I would say, yeah, you're in a position where you should move on.
You have to understand it from a place of war. Right?
I hear you.
If me, the guy that's been around from the exodus,
you've managed to survive so long,
the exodus of this tribe, and then you come in and you say, "Well, I'm willing to take notes from you," then I have to kill you.
Right?
Why would I want you to take notes from me when I can lead better than you can?
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? That's why you have to kill me. You have to take somebody like me out, and I don't mean. For anybody just joining into the conversation,
It's not literally.
Right. But you have to get rid of the people that came before you for that reason. You're not going to be able to rebuild if you have someone that knows the old structure.
The only thing that I would say there, and I will use my own experience with my current company as a counterpoint to that, is that honestly, I was far enough down the totem that when the new leadership came in, I was actually elevated, and everybody that was above kind of where I was at, that whole team is cycled. So
we'll see.
It depends. Maybe
that may be a good company.
Maybe you're not up far enough for them to say.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Like that's. Let me finish this thought. Is that I think when a corporate culture needs to change, generally speaking, is you can't just cut off the head of the snake. You got to cut off at least a third, the top third.
Get rid of the snake. Right. Get rid of the snake.
You and I are in the same. Yeah.
Keep the rattler. Keep the rattle, but get rid of the rest of the snake is the thing. And my whole thing with that is the only I won't even say.
But if the changes aren't happening like 10 levels above you, like for me, in terms of levels, I'm what we would call an L4 now. So there's the CEO. There's the C-suite.
Right.
There's the VPs, and then there's my level.
Right. Well, see, my whole thing with that is, hurry up before you lose it again. God damn, don't lose it again. I had it right on my. Say what you said before you explain the levels.
So what I would say, it was the whole. Are you far enough up that it matters whether or not they keep you or let you go?
Right, there it is. Okay. There it is, exactly. So what I'm saying is...
Occasionally I can get you back there.
Right. Well, see, you're the captain. I'm the navigator. I just need you to go and...
Go forward!
My whole thing is this. When I'm at a company, almost 4 years, and I see people that have been at that same company for upwards of 10 years, leave to take another job somewhere else at the same level I'm at, that doesn't give me the confidence to move up with your company. Right. Because if you're running people out in management
and they're going back down,
why would I want to move to their... And listen, you have to understand, everybody, and I know I'm Facebook friends with a lot of people, I'm not as dumb as they are, though. And don't get me wrong, I mean this to you specifically. I'm not as dumb as they are.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not going to devote myself 10 years to a company moving up that I don't see going anywhere. Now, I've seen from when I started the company, this isn't going anywhere.
I hear you, but so what I would say is, and I think you and I have talked about this a little bit in the past, in terms of not everybody is meant to move up in a company. Like, and that's part of the reason why, and I know at least
I've always been a pawn.
I know at least in my company, I don't know what it's like in yours, that the pay band,
I don't know what that means.
Usually, like, what the average, so
okay, I don't even know.
A pay band is usually it's a letter or a number, and it's like if you are a 9, your pay band is $30 an hour to $56 an hour.
If you are a black,
how do you
your
fall?
pay band
how do you fall within? But how do you fall within that pay band?
Right.
Like I'm actually fortunate right now because most of my team is below the midpoint of their pay bands, which means I can afford for probably almost 10 years to give them 5% raises every year and still be within their current role.
Right.
So you can make them feel more appreciated. They can make more money, but they don't necessarily have to change titles and move up further.
Right. Right. No, I understand that 100%.
And to your point, like if you're comfortable in the role you're in and you don't want to move up, the question is how much flexibility do you have within your quote unquote pay band to continue to make more money without necessarily moving up in title or responsibilities?
See, at this point, it's not about, I can't expect for the guy that oppressed me to give me more money.
I hear you there.
I just can't.
That makes sense.
You feel I can't expect to devote 10 years of my life to be making $2 more than what I'm making now.
No, and I hear you on that. And that's, I mean, honestly, like the reason I've stayed with the company that I'm at is that I have never gone more than 3 years, more than 2 years, without seeing a sizable increase.
Listen,
in terms of percentage.
Like I said, I've been in my job for almost 4 years now. I've gotten one pay increase.
Yeah, see.
That one pay increase was 3%, which ended up being about 75 cents on my dollar.
Right.
Now, once I noticed that, after all that I had given them, I knew from then on, this isn't anywhere I want to be or need to be. Now, the difference between me and someone else is that would instantly be an indication for them to move on. See, me, it's not. Because out of all the places that I have worked before, and trust and believe, I know I can make almost double somewhere else. But that would also be an inconvenience to my life. Now I'm working a different work schedule.
Or go somewhere else.
I'm working I'm working somewhere else. I have to go into work. I have to do all this shit. Where it's like, you know what? With all of those revenue streams that we discussed previously, I'm comfortable. I don't care if I hate these people. And let's be honest.
Today, at least, you hate some people.
Listen, I might be more honest than I should be, but the way I've been feeling today with this devil in me, if I ran into a few of them outside of work without me working there, I can't say I wouldn't put hands on them.
Right.
I can't say that. I honestly cannot say I wouldn't be mad enough to put hands on them.
I hear you.
And anytime, listen, at the same time, whether or not that is just one source of revenue stream, anytime a job makes me feel that way, I got to get out of there.
You know it's time to go. Yeah. And I think that that's the thing is that, and unfortunately, that's what the society that we have built here in America does, is that it does make people feel, to some extent, trapped in their current job because of healthcare, because of X, because
that's
of Y.
That's really the only reason. Healthcare and all that is the only reason why I really care to keep the job.
Right.
And it's really crazy because I don't go to the doctor, but it's all the other benefits. It's the life insurance. It's the if Karma needs something. It's, you know what I mean? It's all that.
It's everything else. Well, I mean, is she a dependent on your insurance or on baby mom's insurance?
It depends. Right now she's on Michelle's.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean it depends on the situation, of course. But right now.
But right now.
Right.
Okay. Well, and I mean that right there probably gives you more flexibility than if she were on yours right now.
Right, definitely. And everybody knows I don't give a fuck about going to the doctor.
Right.
I do need to.
We've also had that talk on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about a lump. I don't give a fuck about
pretty much. I go to get my blood sugar, and then they tell me it's too high, and they throw me on other or different medications.
The only time I ever use my insurance, and this is 100%, is I got a STD check every 6 months back when I was sexually active.
So are you still on celibacy right now?
Yeah, I'm not fucking nothing.
No?
Not an interest in a tailbone.
no tailbones.
I have no interest. What I say at the beginning, I'm ambidextrous. You hear what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about a woman. You hear what I'm saying? So right now I'm focused.
And I'm married, so I'm also ambidextrous.
Right. Oh shit. I know that's right. Listen, that's another reason why. Like, what am I rushing into a situation
what's
and
the
be
point?
doing the same thing? I can do that by myself.
Right. I can do bad all by myself.
You know what I'm saying? I have a blast. Don't nobody tell me when to take these here draws off. I do it when I please.
Well, and that's the benefit of working from home. Sometimes you just feel like it in the middle of the day.
Maybe I may need to. Keep it a buck. Maybe I may need to just like switch it up and just work asshole naked. You know what I mean? Like just as comfortable as I would if I walked around with nobody there and see if that changes my fuck that job.
If you do it naked, maybe it's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, who else has the opportunity to? This may be the only opportunity I could. I might as well.
Oh, man.
And my ignorant ass light that motherfucking camera right on up if you call me, too. Oh, it's a meeting? Oh, are you mad that I'm in my own house? Well, take your computer back, bitches.
Oh, shit.
The fuck? So maybe that's my new angle.
There you go.
Coffee and cock. Out in the open. I might have to double up on the OnlyFans on naked work day.
There you go. Naked work day. OnlyFans.com/naked.
See which one pops out first, unemployment or the OnlyFans.
There you go. Oh. I will say this just to wrap us up. The Rita chimes in when she likes it. Anyways.
I think I'm in. I think I've already made up my mind. OnlyFans.
You definitely have new webcams and new mics, so you might as well go for it. We are at about 2:15. Mr. Jennings, you got anything to wrap us up here?
Aluminum slides.
Stop with the slides.
Plastic slides. All I'm saying is some slides take you to a whole different level
Here we go
in life.
again.
And I don't know what was just played, but love everybody and watch out for them goddamn slides.
Watch out for them slides.
Especially if you got kids or if you're a kid at heart.
There you go.
Doom, doom.
We got a couple of different shows going on tomorrow. There will probably be 2 episodes of Mind and Body Understanding with Dr. Jeff Pharion.
Fuck that. Listen to Hit the Showers presented to you by the... No, I'm just playing. But listen to Hit the Showers, please. Listen
to both. The good news is it's podcast form, so you can listen to it later as well. So you got Hit the Showers dropping tomorrow, probably about 6:30. You got the Mind and Body Understanding podcast, which will drop 1 episode between 2 and 3, and probably another one between 3 and 4, or 4 and 5.
We won't mix the...
No, they have there's a different Zoom setup, and we should be done before you all start. So check those out. Do us a favor. Head over to Apple Podcasts. If you search for Foolproof Entertainment Network, you'll find all 3 shows. Do us a favor. Subscribe, download all 3 shows.
Rank them. Give them our stars. Even if it's a 1 star. 1 star me.
And then also make a comment because comments are what get it going.
Yeah, if you wouldn't star me, at least give me a comment as to why.
Tell us why.
But I'm not mad if you wouldn't star me. Give me what you think I deserve.
I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah. All that. Evolution.
Evolution. It's an evolution, bitches.
I call it devolution.
Devolution. All right, that's all we got tonight. Peace out, fools.
And love your mothers.
That too.